we are going to start discussion regarding structured query language, SQL. So this is part 2 of our unit number 2. In the first unit, we have gone through relational algebra. So for SQL, relational algebra is the basis. So as we have understood how to implement how to write relational algebra queries, now it will become easier for us to write the structured query language queries also. So let's begin what we are going to discuss under this part of unit number 2. We are going to discuss about SQL. So two parts of SQL actually we are having under SQL: data definition language, and also we are having data manipulation language. So we are going to look at data definition statements and also the data manipulation language statements. So those include insert, update, delete and select. Further, in this part of the unit, we are going to focus upon several variants of select statement. So select statement is actually being used to extract the information from the relations. So there are many different constructs under select statement. So we are going to look at set operations, aggregate functions, group by clause, having clause. Then we are going to see nested queries and views, and also we will learn how to write complex queries using SQL and joins. So in fact, we have gone through the relational algebra where we have touched upon all those concepts in some way. Right? So the relational algebra we are going to extend now in SQL, so that practically we can implement those SQL statements with our relational database. So whichever are the queries, those we are going to write under this part of SQL, we are referring to our university database. So we have seen earlier the university ER model. We have seen how to come up with the relational model based on this ER model, and I have demonstrated in one of the videos that how actually to create these tables. So practically, so in SQL, first of all, we are going to create the tables under our relational model, and we are going to manipulate those tables further. So as I stated, in structured query language, we are having two important components. The first is the data definition language, which is popularly known as DDL, and data manipulation language, which is known as DML. Under DDL, we are having three important kinds of statements. Those we are going to deal with. So we are having create table statement. This statement will help us to create a table in RDBMS. Then we are going to see alter table statement. And the third statement that we are going to cover is the drop table. So in fact, these three are the important statements under DDL, those we are going to see. Create table, meant for creating a new table; alter table, to change the definition of existing table; and drop table, to remove the table from our database system. Similarly, under data manipulation language, we are going to discuss four important statements. Insert. This will help us to insert a tuple, insert data in a table. Then we are going to look at delete statement. This will help us to delete a tuple from the relation or the table. Third statement that we are going to look at is update statement. So this statement will help us to modify the data that has already been stored in the table. And the fourth important statement under DML that we are going to cover is the select statement. So this is what we are going to discuss now under SQL. So in fact, I have posted one video regarding DDL and I have asked you to go through that video. So I am not going into the details of DDL statement today. We will be having an overview because I believe that you must have gone through the contents. I have posted two videos, one related to detailed discussion of DDL statement and another actually dealt with the practical implementation of all those statements in Oracle. So I hope you must have gone through. If you have not yet gone through, I would recommend you to please go through. So briefly, I'm going to cover DDL statement because already I have covered it in the video that was posted earlier. And today we'll be focusing more upon the DML statements, especially insert, delete and update. So let's begin with data definition language statement. So data definition language allows us to specify the definition of the relation. This definition of the relation actually includes the schema for relation, then the domain of values associated with each attribute. Using DDL statements, it is possible for us to impose the integrity constraints. The DDL statements can also be useful to set the indices on particular attributes so that we can expedite our search in the tables. Further, the DDL statements can be used for security and authorizing the information in the relations. And also, these are meant for physical storage structure, defining physical storage structure of each relation onto the disk. So initially, whichever DDL statements, those we are going to look at, are meant for creating the schema, right? And also, of course, we are going to see how we can change the definition of the schema and how we can remove the particular tables from the database, right? Also, while creating the table, we are looking at how to impose the integrity constraints on certain attributes, right? So, as I stated, we are having create table statement to create a table in relational database management system, alter table to alter the definition of existing table, and drop table to remove the table from the database. So, I'm quickly going through the syntax for all those statements and will go for DML statements, right? So, before actually going for the statement of create table statement, let me take you through the possible data types in Oracle. So I'm talking about Oracle in general. If you go with any other database management system also, say for example, what are the other RDBMS available other than Oracle? We may have PostgreSQL. We may have MySQL. We may have Microsoft SQL Server. And so on. So even though there are various relational database management systems, those are available, for practicals we are going to make use of Oracle, and that is why I am demonstrating you the data types in Oracle. I am not referring to all the data types available in Oracle, but I am going to demonstrate only those data types, those are frequently being used while defining the tables. In all other RDBMS also, we are having similar kinds of data types. Okay, so we are having char data type, varchar2, nchar, nvarchar2, number and date. In fact, the detailed discussion related to all those data types was covered in the earlier video. So let me quickly go through So char data type will help us to define the attribute in the table wherein we would like to store some string data, right? So char is fixed length. Char is meant for storing the fixed length character data with the given size. So size need to be provided. So if I want to store say name, then I need to specify the data type for this attribute name, say for example char, along with the size. So number of characters I may store under this attribute name. So that defines the size. So while declaring or while defining the attribute name, I may write the statement like name with the data type char 20, right? Varchar2 is also allowing us to store character type data, but this is variable length. So char is fixed length, whereas varchar2 is the data type which allows us to store the data with variable length. So what we mean by that? So if I'm storing once again name, but now I'm storing or I'm using the data type as varchar2 20. So what is the difference in char and varchar? As I stated, char is fixed length, whereas varchar2 is variable length. So typically to store one character, we require 1 byte. So if I am declaring attribute with char data type with the specified size, then irrespective of the actual length of the string that I am storing under that attribute, this 20 bytes will be allocated in memory. I'll repeat. So in char type, irrespective of actual length of the name or the string that I am going to store under the attribute, the size number of bytes will be allocated. So if size is 20, 20 bytes will be allocated. So even though my actual name includes few number of characters, then also 20 characters will be allocated or 20 bytes will be allocated. Okay. Whereas in varchar2, as I stated, it allows us to store or to use the variable length memory. Meaning, if I am declaring the attribute with varchar2, then whatever is actual length of my string that I am going to store under attribute, only those many characters will be utilized, or only that much space is being utilized, right? So that is the difference in char and varchar. Similarly, we are having nchar and nvarchar2. So nchar and nvarchar2 are similar to char and varchar2. Only the difference is they use the Unicode data type. And these are typically being used to store the text written in any language. Because if I am using some different language, say for example, other than English, any other language. So globally, if I want to store the data in any particular language, then I may go with nchar and nvarchar2. The next data type is the number. In Oracle, it is known as number. In some other database management systems, it is referred as numeric. Right? So depending on which RDBMS we are going to make use of, with respect to that particular RDBMS, we need to use the appropriate data types. So in Oracle, it is called as number. So it is having two parameters with number. So what are those two parameters? P stands for precision and S stands for scale. So precision defines total number of digits, those we are going to make use of, and scale determines the number of digits to the right hand side of the decimal place. So if I am declaring some number, say suppose salary number, and if I am mentioning here precision 10 comma scale is 2, then this means that the total number of digits those I can store under salary are 10, and to the right hand side of the decimal place I can store 2 digits. So maximum 2 decimal places I may have. Similarly, we are having this specific data type to store dates. So this is really useful data type, date. If we would like to store any kind of date, then always we should select this data type, that is date. Once again, I would like to emphasize that date can also be stored under varchar type, but we should not use varchar to store the date, because if we are selecting date as the data type for actually storing the date data, then it becomes easy for us to manipulate on those dates. So if my attribute is having data type date, then it is possible for me to manipulate those dates. I can use some arithmetic expressions, right? I may add few days, I may subtract few days, I may add two, or I may find out the difference between two dates and so on. So such kinds of arithmetic operations are possible if we designate the attribute as date, right? So these are few important data types under Oracle, and those we have covered. Next, let us look at the create table statement. So this is the syntax for create table. Create table, name of the relation, and then we are having the list of attributes along with the data types. So A1 D1 comma A2 D2 comma so on up to AN DN. A1 is the attribute name and D1 is the associated domain or data type. Similarly, whichever are the attributes those we would like to have in a particular relation R, we are going to list out all those attributes along with the data types. Also, in create table, it is possible for us to provide the integrity constraints like primary key, foreign key, or few other constraints like check constraint, null not null constraint, and so on. Right? So let us give an example. If I want to define department table, I want to create department table with this schema, department name, which would be a primary key, building and budget. I'll be using a statement create table department name varchar 220, building varchar 215, budget number 12,2. So this is the first attribute along with its data type varchar 2 with size. Second attribute with its data type varchar 2 with size, and the third attribute with its type number and the precision and the scale for that attribute. So see here in this definition we have not included the primary keys. This is the simple straightforward example how to create a table with only the attributes. But if I want to impose the integrity constraint that I want to designate department name as the primary key for department table, then how I can do that? So let us look at what are the integrity constraints those we may impose. We may impose primary key, we may impose foreign key, we may impose the constraint not null or the check constraint. So let us see the example. So this is the example wherein in addition to the definitions for the attributes in the department table, we are providing here the integrity constraint primary key in parenthesis department name. So this indicates that for this table department name is our primary key, right? Similarly, if we want to create instructor table, right? What are the attributes of instructor table? ID, name, department name and salary. Those are the attributes of instructor table. So ID is varchar2, name is varchar2 with size 20. See here, we are imposing another integrity constraint, not null. So what does this mean? This means that we always want some value, some string to be stored under name. So name need not be null. So always instructor should have name. So if we try to insert data in instructor table without name, then this statement, due to this definition of the instructor table, we will see the error because we have not included the name. So name must be there. Okay. Then department name varchar 220. Salary number 8,2. Then for this table, our primary key is ID, and see here how we have used this constraint, foreign key constraint. So which is the foreign key? Department name is the foreign key in instructor table. So we are designating this foreign key department name as foreign key. These are the keywords. Foreign key. Then in parenthesis, name of the attribute, that is department name. References department. References department. This means that this department name is borrowed from this department table, right? Provided this department table is being created earlier. Unless we create department table, it is not possible for us to borrow the key from the department table, right? So here we are mentioning foreign key, department name, references department. Also, we are providing one more constraint. See here, check constraint. So check salary greater than 0. So this is our predicate. So we are checking whether salary is greater than 0. So if we are providing salary equal to 0, or if the salary value is negative, such kinds of values will not be accepted. So usually this check constraint is for validating our data, right? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt so far? Fine. So let us proceed with alter table statement. So as I stated, alter table statement is used to add, delete or modify the columns in an existing table. So let us quickly go through this alter table statement. I have explained all those statements in detail in the earlier video. Once again, I am telling you to refer to that video, right? So alter table is also being used to add or drop the constraints on the existing table. So let us go through few of the constructs of alter table. So if I want to add some new attribute in the existing table, then I'll be using the statement like alter table R is the relation name, add new attribute to be added with the data type, right? So if we forget to add few of the attributes, or later on after building our table, if we want to add there is a new need of the enterprise, and if we want to add a new attribute in the existing table, then we may make use of this statement, alter table, name of the table, add, then name of the attribute to be added with its data type. Similarly, if we want to remove a particular table, a particular attribute from the table, then we are having this construct drop, right? So this will allow us to drop the existing column, the existing attribute from the table. Similarly, if we want to change the data type of the attribute, then also it is possible. For that, we are making use of this modify construct of alter table. Okay, fine. As I stated, it is possible for us to use alter table statement to add the constraint. Say, for example, suppose I am using create table statement to create the table department, And if I forgot to add the primary key for the department table, then later on also it is possible for me to add that constraint. So for that, I'll be writing a statement like alter table. Which table to be altered? Department table. Then what we want to alter? We want to add the constraint into this table. So the construct to be used is add constraint. Then department PK. So this is the identifier that is being used internally in the system to store that constraint. So department PK, it is as good as a variable, right? This is the identifier that is being used internally in the system, right, to store this constraint. So what constraint we would like to add? Primary key, department name. So this table, what happens is, if we want to remove the entire table from the database, obviously all the information that is being stored in the table will also be removed. So if this is the case, then we may go with the statement drop table. So drop table and name of the table. So this will help us to remove this table R from our database system. Right? So that's all with the DDL statements. So for the detailed discussion, once again, I'll appeal you to go through the earlier video. So now I'm going to demonstrate the data manipulation language statements. Right? So as I stated, under DML statement, we are going to refer to the insert command that will help us to add or insert the rows in the table. Then we are going to discuss delete statement. This delete statement will help us to delete one or more rows from the table. Modify attribute. If we want to modify attribute values, we are making use of update statement. And if we want to extract the data from one or more tables or views, we are making use of select statement. Now please note here, delete and drop are different. Drop or drop table is the DDL statement, whereas delete is the DML statement. So what is the difference? Whenever we use drop table command, then what happens? The entire table gets removed from our database system. Whereas if we want to delete particular records, particular tuples from our table, then we need to make use of this delete statement. So delete statement, what it will do, suppose I am having say department table, and if I am having say 3 tuples added, department 1, 2, 3, and if I want to delete one of the departments from this table, then I can make use of this delete statement to delete entire tuple. Okay. Modify, if we want to modify the existing values, those are stored in the tuples, then we may use update statement, and select statement is being used to extract the data. Okay. So let us one by one go through all those statements and the syntax, how to use those statements. So let us first go through the insert statement. So let us see the example. Suppose we want to add a new tuple to instructor table. New tuple to instructor table. So we should know what are the attributes of instructor table. So what are the attributes of instructor table? We are having ID, name, then department name, right, and salary. So if I want to add a new record of instructor into instructor table, I'll be using the statement like insert into name of the table where we would like to insert the values. So insert into instructor values, in parenthesis we need to provide the values for all the attributes in the sequence how we have defined our table, right? So first comes ID. So we are having value of ID. ID is this. Then next is name, name of the instructor, then department name and salary. So all the values are separated by comma, right? So these are the four values for these four attributes. Those we would like to insert in instructor table. Okay, so this is how we may give the insert statement. The alternative way to provide this insert statement is like insert into instructor. Then we are listing out the attribute names and then we are making use of the construct values, and then in the same sequence in which we have listed those attributes, we are providing the values of those attributes. And I think this is the best way to write the insert statement. So insert into instructor, list out the attributes of the table and then provide the values, those we would like to insert. Right? Is there any doubt so far? Yes? Have you understood how to write insert statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let me show you now practically how we are going to do that in Oracle. So let me whether my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay. So in the earlier video, I have demonstrated how to create the university schema. So we are having that university schema ready with us. So I'll log into the system. University is my username, and let me tell you how to insert data into the table. So we have seen how the tuple can be inserted into the instructor table. So I'm going to write the same statement right now, but we will get the error for that, and then I'll explain why we are getting that error, and then I'll explain you how to resolve that problem. Okay, so let us see here the table instructor that we have created earlier. So this is the table that we have, instructor table with attributes ID, name, department name and salary. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to insert. So insert into instructor. As I stated, we should list out the attributes ID, name, then department name and salary, then values, and we should enclose the values in the parenthesis. So let us try to insert this tuple. Say ID is 10211 and the name of the instructor is Smith. I'm using this same data set that is being provided in our textbook so that we can relate it. Okay, then department name is say biology. 6,000. So this is the insert statement that we would like to use to insert this tuple, okay, in our instructor table. So if I run this statement, see here I'm purposefully doing this so that you can understand what kind of errors we may have. So here I'm getting the error. What that error is? Integrity constraint error. Right? And this error is saying that the constraint is violated. Parent key not found. So why we are getting this error? See, so far we have only created the schema. We have not at all inserted any data, right, in any of the tables. And directly now what I'm trying to do is I'm inserting one tuple into the instructor table. But please remember that this department name in instructor table is borrowed from department table. And if I am providing department name as biology, then this biology department must exist in department table. Then and then only it is possible for me to use that value. And this is because we have imposed the foreign key constraint. We have imposed the referential integrity. Right? And that is why this statement right now is not allowing me to input this record in my table. The reason is we are violating the foreign key constraint. We are violating the integrity constraint, because this biology department is not stored in department table earlier. So what we need to do to rectify this error? First of all, we need to insert that department in department table. So for that, we are writing here the statement insert into department. So once again, the syntax will remain same. What is the syntax? We are having list of attributes, department name, attributes of department table, department name, then building and budget. These are the attributes of department table. So insert into department, list of attributes, then values, and we should provide those values. So we want to insert the instructor from biology department. So first of all, we should insert that department, right, in department table, because that department name is the foreign key in instructor table, right? So let us try to give the value. So department name, obviously we want to have biology department. Okay, then let us say the building is say Watson. Budget is say 90,000. So this is the statement that will help me to add a record in department table, right? So let us execute this statement first. So here I am getting the message like one row inserted. So this helped me to insert one record in department table. So now I'm simply I want to check whether that record is there. in my department table. So simple form of select statement I am using. Select star from department. So this will list out, this statement will list out the data in department table. So if I execute this statement, I am having here one row added into the table. Department name is biology, building is Watson, and budget is 90,000. Okay, now once I make sure that this biology department exists in my department table, now it is possible for me to insert the instructor belonging to that department. So now if I execute this statement, I will not get error. Okay, so let us try to run this statement, and I'm getting the message one row inserted. This means that now we have inserted this instructor into the instructor table. So now let us see the data in instructor table. So simply we are making use of the statement select star from instructor, and this will show me the data in the instructor table. So the same data we have inserted right now. Okay, is there any doubt?
Ma'am, can you show please how to add the foreign key, assign the foreign key?
Yes, so while creating the table, add the foreign key. See here, this is the definition for instructor table. So while creating the table, we are adding the foreign key constraint. So foreign key department references department. So this means that we are designating department name attribute in instructor table as the foreign key, and we are referring to this department table. As I stated, we should first create department table so that we can designate department name as the primary key for the department table, and then only it is possible for us to introduce this department name as the foreign key in instructor table. So these are the definitions actually, those we have for these respective tables, department and instructor. And we have added now one tuple in department table and one tuple in instructor table. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let me once again switch to Oracle, and let us try to add one more instructor. So insert into instructor, only the values need to be changed. Okay, so okay, for prior to adding those values, I need to add the department also. So let us add one more department. Insert into department. Suppose computer science is the department that we would like to add, computer science. Okay, then building name was this Taylor, and was budget is 1 lakh. So now let us add one more tuple in department table. Okay, and now let us add one more instructor belonging to computer science department. So insert into instructor, and let us provide the values for the new instructor 10101, Srinivasan. I'm using the same data that is provided in our textbook so that we will not have any confusion, because we would like to execute further the queries. And suppose the salary is 65,000. So I'm having now this new instructor to be added into instructor table. So if I execute this, now I'm seeing here one row inserted. So now let us list out whatever is the data in department table and instructor table. So select start from department will help us to show the data that is stored in department table, and the select star from instructor will help us to show the data that is stored in instructor table. So in department table we have two tuples added, two departments, biology and computer science, and in instructor table also we are having two records, one instructor from biology and another instructor from computer science. Got it? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let's go to once again discussion regarding the next DML statement. So we have seen insert statement, right? And a simple form of select statement just to verify the data stored in the table. Okay. So let's move to the next DML statement, that is delete statement. So what is this delete statement? Delete statement help us to delete the tuple, delete the record from the table. So it is not allowing us to delete individual attribute values, but it will help us to delete the entire tuple from the table. The syntax is delete from name of the table where the predicate P. So predicate is actually the condition. So this delete statement finds all the tuples those satisfy this predicate P, and then these tuples get deleted from the table. Okay, this where clause here, this where clause is actually optional. So this can be omitted. But if we omit this where clause from this delete statement, then what will happen? All the data from table R will be deleted. And if we provide this where clause with predicate, then only those tuples matching this criteria P will be deleted. Right? So let us see the example for delete statement. If I want to delete all instructor records, if I want to delete all instructor records, then I will provide the statement like delete from name of the table instructor, right? Delete or from instructor. So this statement will delete all the records. I am saying all the records from instructor table. The instructor table definition will be as it is. I am only deleting the data. Okay. Suppose I want to delete all instructor records from biology department. Then here I am having the predicate, and what that predicate is department name equal to biology. So if I want to delete all the records from biology department, I'll be writing the statement like delete from instructor where department name equal to biology. Delete from instructor where department name equal to biology. So what this statement will do? This statement will first find out all the records from instructor table for which department name equal to biology, and only those records will be deleted from instructor table. Right? Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am. No.
Okay, so let's try to execute these statements. So we are having now in instructor table, we are having these two records, right? We'll do both the things. So we'll provide first the statement delete from instructor. Delete from instructor. So what will happen if I execute this statement? Yes. What will happen if I execute this statement?
Delete all the records from the instructor.
Yes. So right now how many records we have? 2 records. So if I execute this statement, both these records will be deleted from instructor table. So let us try to execute this statement. So 2 rows deleted is the message. So if once again, if I use select statement to visualize the data in instructor table, I'll get the message no data found because we have deleted all the records from instructor table. Correct? But we have not dropped that table. The table is there. Only data is deleted. So let us try to once again insert the data. Okay. So insert into instructor. So once again we are executing the same statements. So first record is added and this is the second record that is added. So if once again we try to look at the data in instructor table, we are having these 2 records. Okay. Now let us try to execute now the other statement with where clause. So delete from name of the table instructor where department name equal to biology. Right? So if I execute now this statement, what will happen? Only the records pertaining to this department will be deleted. So right now we are having only one record for biology department. So this record will be deleted. Okay. So let us execute. So we are having here the statement 1 row deleted, and now let us once again list out the data in instructor table. So we are having now a single record belonging to computer science in our instructor table. Got it? Yes.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
doubt?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No.
Fine. So let me proceed with the next statement. That is the update statement. So as I stated earlier, update statement is meant for updating or modifying the existing data. Updating or modifying the existing data. Okay. So see here, increase, see one example, increase salary of all instructors by 6%. Increase salary of all instructors by 6%. So what we want to do? We want to modify earlier salary of the instructor. And we want to replace that earlier salary with some new salary value. So we are going to write this statement, update instructor, set is the keyword, set salary, that is the attribute to be updated. So update instructor, set salary equal to salary into 1.06. So this will help us to increase the salary of all instructors by 6%. So all the salary values will be updated in one go. Correct? So if I am having 100 records, 100 instructors stored in instructor table, then for all those 100 instructors, salary will be increased by 6%, and the new salary value gets replaced as salary. Right? Are you getting me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now, let us try to use this statement practically. So right now in instructor table we are having only one record. So let us try to add one more record so that we can see the change in salary values of both the records. So now we are having these two records. Okay, and suppose now we want to update this salary. And how we are going to update this salary? We want to update name of the table. Which table to update? Instructor table. Then set which attribute we would like to update. We would like to update salary to salary into 1.06. Right? This is the statement. So let us execute this statement and let us visualize the results. See here whether you are seeing here the changed values for salary. Yes, updated values for the salary. Earlier it was 66,000, so it has been increased to 69,960. This was 65,000, so it is increased to 68,900. So all the salary values, all the instructor salaries are being increased. Getting me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Fine. Fine. Now, let us try to once again restore back the original salary value. So, how I can give update statement? What we want? We want to restore back, right, the original salary value. So, see here, update statement without where clause. Update statement without where clause will affect all the rows in the table. But now, if we want to particularly modify salary of a particular instructor, then we may give the statement like update instructor set salary equal to 66,000, ID is equal to, for Smith it is not, so ID is equal to 10211. Right? Are you getting me? Update instructor set salary equal to 66,000 where ID is equal to 10211. So what this update statement will do? This update statement will update salary to this value 66,000. For whom? Only for the record where this ID is 10211. So let us try to execute this statement. Right? So here we are getting the message one row updated. So now let us look at the data in instructor table. See here. Salary for this 10211 is now modified as 66,000. If we also want to replace the salary for this 10101, then what we are going to do is we are going to change the salary value to 65,000 for instructor ID 10101. And if once again, if we try to list out the data, then we are having For Smith, the salary is 66,000. For Srinivasan, it is 65000 that we have updated. Right? So once again, I am summarizing. If I am using delete or update statement without where clause, all the data in the particular table gets affected. Whereas if along with delete statement or update statement, if we are making use of this where clause, then what will happen? Only the data that satisfies the provided condition, only that data gets affected. Got it? Any doubt? Yes? Any doubt so far?
No, ma'am.
Fine. So I hope you must have understood these three statements: insert, delete and update, and the basic form of the select statement. Now simply I am going to demonstrate few more examples of update statement, and then we will conclude this session. So suppose we want to increase the salary of instructors who have salary less than 70,000. Increase salary of instructors who have salary less than 70,000. Right? Then we are going to write the statement: update instructor, set salary equal to salary into 1.06, where salary is less than 70,000. So this statement will modify the salary values only if the original salary of the instructor is less than 70,000. Right? So whatever is the predicate, whatever is the condition that we would like to impose, we may write that condition in where clause. Got it? Yes? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am. No.
Any doubt? May I go to the next?
Yes.
Fine. So here is one more example of update statement. All instructors with salary over 1 lakh receive a 3% raise, whereas all others receive a 6% raise. So what does this mean? There are two conditions now to be imposed. So for few of the instructors, we need to modify the salary values according to 3% raise, whereas for remaining instructors, we would like to raise the salary by 6%. So how we are going to write the statement? Here, please note, we are going to write two update statements. One for 3% raise and another for 6% raise. Right? So the first statement would be update instructor, set salary equal to salary into 1.03, where salary is greater than 1 lakh. And the second statement that we are writing is salary gets modified by 6%, where salary is less than or equal to 1 lakh. But while using these two statements, we should provide these two statements in the same order. That means first we should execute this, and then only we should execute this statement in this particular example. And the reason is, if we execute 6% raise for the first time, then it may happen that few of the instructors' salary gets more than gets more than 1 lakh. Right? So once again, if I go for updating the records with this condition, then the same tuples may affect once again, and that should not be the case. And that is why what we need to do is, we need to make use of these update statements in the same sequence. First update the salary of the instructors for whom salary earlier was greater than 1 lakh, and next go for updating the salary for the instructors who are having the salary less than 1 lakh. Okay, so here the order is most important. The alternative way to give or to write the same query is by making use of some other construct, and that construct that I am going to demonstrate right now is the case. If we are having two different cases here like this, if instructors having salary greater than 1 lakh, increase the salary by 3%, otherwise increase the salary by 6%. Okay, so how we are going to write this statement? Update instructor, set salary equal to, and we are having now two cases. So case when salary is less than or equal to 1 lakh, then salary should be increased by 6%, otherwise salary should be increased by 3%. So case when predicate, then whatever is the arithmetic expression, else. So if this condition is not satisfied, then what to do? Otherwise, increase the salary by 3% and then end the case. So this is the syntax that can also be used if we want to impose more than one conditions for updating some data. Right? Is there any doubt? Yes?
No,
Is
ma'am.
there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
That I want you people to practically do it for your database. Right? Unless and until you practice, it will not be possible for you to clear the concepts. Okay? So I would appeal all of you to create the database using DDL statements and then use these DML statements, insert, delete and update, right, to insert some significant amount of data in your database, so that further whenever we go for select statement, you will be able to retrieve the information that is stored from your tables. Right? And you will understand actually all those different constructs and when to use which kind of construct. Right? So I hope you must have understood all these statements, and I hope you will practice those statements. So let's stop today.